Welcome back, guys. Today we're doing another branding video. My name is Josie and I'm a graphic designer. Welcome to the channel. I thought it's summer. Hopefully it's gonna be summer by the time I post this video. Okay, but it's summer. Why don't I do a sunscreen brand? So in this video, I'm gonna do my research and competitor analysis, a bit on my mood board and what I'm going with. And then I do my ideation and building out the brand in Figma. Not sponsored, but the box is open. And lastly, I do my own product mockups in Blender, so I'll show you guys that. I love doing my own custom mockups. Let's just get into it. The first thing I'm doing is my competitor analysis. For my competitor analysis, I chose brands that felt like they were contemporaries, peers to my brand. I made a board for each brand and pulled out some core things like their tagline and their colors. So first of all, Supergoop. Supergoop, when this came on the scene, do you guys remember? Like, I was a beauty YouTube girly, so I remember Supergoop coming on the scene, and it was like a big deal because they were the first really mainstream clear sunscreen. That's what they were known for, and that's their selling point, is being an entirely clear sunscreen. I've used Supergoop, and it feels very silicone-y. That's what I'll say. And it feels like a sunscreen. It feels like a silicone sunscreen, but nobody cares about that. The branding itself, I think the packaging is really cute, like the white and the holographic, and they pull off this kind of vintagey script logo without having a really vintagey brand, which like looking at the logo on its own, it's kind of like what, but when you see it in context, and I kind of like it. I think they pull it off. I think the colors are a bit much. They use this RGB blue and this really bright yellow, which obviously makes sense. But I think the hero is just the product packaging. When you go onto their website and everything, it doesn't feel like the art direction is super purposeful or super unique. I mean, obviously it's art directed, but it's just like most other sunscreens. You're bright and you're in the sun. And same with the design. Like, I don't think it's the most designed out thing. I think they really lean on the fact that they have a very unique selling point, which is the clear sunscreen. And they have everything under the sun, like on their website, every type of product. So obviously they're a sunscreen brand. A lot of other brands are beauty brands that just happen to have an SPF, but Supergoop has every type of sunscreen. They haven't done a lot of like very standout campaigns. Like I said, people were just talking about Supergoop when it came out because it was worth talking about. They had Liza Koshy as a brand ambassador. I think this photo shoot was really fun and she feels very fitting for it. They also had a product placement in espresso, guys, and this was before Sabrina Carpenter blew up. Like, espresso was the thing that made her blow up. So whoever pitched that in the meeting must have been like the MVP of fucking Supergoop, because that's crazy. That is crazy. So this is Supergoop. It just feels like fun in the sun, touching on the vintage, but not leaning into it very much. Okay, next is Sunbum, and they have this gorilla monkey mascot, which they use, and it's cute. I think Sunbum to me feels very early 2000s. I don't know if it's like the surfer thing, if like I associate them with the early 2000s for some reason, but I just like feel that way. Like, it's summer and it's 2007 and we're wearing seashell necklaces. Like, I don't know if that's just me, but that's just how I feel. And they have a very purposeful website. So the thing about Sunbum is a lot of these other brands have very templated websites, but Sunbum's feels very purposeful and very unique. They use things like these like pop-up stickers when you're scrolling through, and it has a just really nice layout, and it just is a really nice website. And they have like these cute stickers all around, like the bananas and things like that. And I also think the art direction is really, really nice. Like, there's just this feeling of everything being very cohesive with the art direction of the photography, which is really nice. And they've done some really interesting brand activations. So this truck down here, they did taco trucks going around all over the place, and they've done like ads with giant bottles of the sunscreen, and they use this wood texture on the sunscreen bottle, which is kind of unique, and it feels a bit like surfer shack, like you're in a surf shack on the beach. This is me just like making generalizations, like as just an average person. One thing I thought was really cool is they have a page on their website about their ambassador program, and they have surf ambassadors and snow ambassadors. And I think sunscreen is so important when you're skiing and snowboarding because the UV rays reflect off of snow like crazy, so you get really bad sunburns. So I think it's really cool to highlight snow ambassadors and to highlight the winter when trying to sell sunscreen products, because nobody is doing that. And I'm like, wouldn't it be cool if there was a brand that really leaned into the winter time? So that's one thing that kind of stood out to me. But Sunbum, to me, they follow their color palette. It doesn't feel like it's too much. Everything feels very cohesive, and I just think it is really nice. Like, I just feel like as a brand, everything comes together and it is really cool. Okay, next is Hawaiian Tropic. Their tagline is Bring on the Sunshine. They've recently done a rebrand, I think in 2022, so they changed their logo a little bit. I love the palm tree T in the logo. I think it's really nice. I really like the colors that they use. Everything feels very cohesive. It's not too much. It's very nice. And they don't have a ton of like super art directed photos, but I thought this one of the woman in the bathroom was really nice just because it has this beautiful lighting to it, and same with these bottles down there on the bottom. One thing that's kind of weird is like, okay, if you look at the top right corner, that's a product photo from the website, but it's not a photo, it's a very detailed vector drawing. And I wonder why they did that. I'm like, did they just like save money so they didn't have to do a photo shoot? Like, it's just kind of weird to me to have like a vector illustration of your product instead of a photo of your product. That's just some random thing that was weird. Also, their website is super templated. I just feel like your Hawaiian tropic. Like, you could do so much, like leaning into the vacation fantasy and like all the imagery of Hawaii. There's so much to draw from, and it just kind of falls flat. Like, yeah, they use the hibiscus, but that's basically it. Like, it's just like, oh, we're outside, and I'm like, you could do so much. You could do so much as a brand. But that's my 2 cents that nobody asked for. The only thing relevant in terms of campaigns that I could find that was like an actual campaign was this Alex Earl campaign, and it was called the Tana Sutra. So she was like tanning in different positions. Guys, this is offensive. I feel like this has got to be offensive. Like, Alex Earl doing the Tana Sutra. I don't know. That's just me. Everybody's just like, oh, just take the, like, when it comes to Indian culture, everybody's just like, let's fucking take. But whatever. And I'm just like, nobody was talking about this. And I don't mean it like because of that. I just mean like in general. Who has been talking about Alex Earl and Hawaiian Tropic? Like, this just completely fell flat. It's Alex Earl. Like, nobody's talking about this ad campaign. Like, anyways, that was, in my personal opinion, because I did not hear a single thing about this until I had to specifically research Hawaiian Tropic. Feels like it fell a little bit flat. That's all I'm saying. But yeah, Hawaiian Tropic is just a classic, I guess. Okay, this is one that I really, really like, and this is Vacation Leisure Enhancing Sunscreen. What they've done at Vacation is they have a gimmick and they've stuck to it till the end. And that is this kind of 70s, 80s, you know, vintage design, vintage art direction for all of their products. And they did the whipped cream sunscreen. That's one of the big products they did. They also have an Air Wand smoothie. Brilliant. I love it. Brilliant. The thing about Vacation is their website feels like you are going through a old catalog, but it's digitized. Like, they have these like coupon clippings that are all just different like designs that they've made. Like, the graphic design team at Vacation are working overtime and a half because it is just hit after hit after hit, and everything is unique. Like, everything feels very thoughtful, and it just feels like they have pulled from an archive. Like, even this aloe vera in the tub there, like, I feel like I've seen that. I just don't know where. Like, everything feels very referential and very meaningful. And if you go through their Instagram, like, it is just so much designed content, and their website is really custom as well. It's really fun. They just have done so much, and they're also known for having a really great smelling sunscreen, so I guess that's why they did the Air One collab. But I think Vacation, they found their thing and they lean into it all the way, and they really go through with that and never falter from it. And I think that's brilliant, because when you're selling something so specific and you have a niche and a shtick, like, you might as well just do it. And I just love all the art direction of Vacation. Lastly is Ultraviolet. I think this is an Australian brand. Full disclosure, I was gonna name my sunscreen Violet, and then I discovered these people exist, so I was like, oh, I'll make a board of this. The tagline is future-proof your face, and it's saying that SPF basically future-proofs it, prevents aging. Which I don't appreciate, okay? I don't appreciate the anti-aging selling points, da-da-da-da-da. I don't appreciate it, okay? It's just, leave me alone! Leave me alone! But other than that, we can talk a bit about the products. So they use these pink and violet colors, which is a bit much, and also has really horrible, like, contrast. Like, this is not accessible, guys. Like, what? I think that their art direction is really beautiful in these kind of fantasy clouds, and I just like a cloud moment. I do like everything, putting them in the clouds. Like, that's just what I do, but I think it's really nice. And yeah, some of the art direction of the website is really cool too. They've got a SPF spritz, which seems like a innovative product. We'll see if that actually does anything. I don't know about that, but yeah, it's pretty fun. It's pretty fun, lighthearted. It feels very, you know, feminine, targeting a female audience for sure with all of this, but that is what they're going for, and I like the purple. I don't like the logo, but I understand the logo. The next thing I wanted to show you guys is more of a design case study, because I saw this branding and I saw it on a design website and I thought this is really, really cool. So I'll show you guys this. It just gives a bit of a sense of where I'm coming from in terms of making a brand, because I thought they did a really great job. So this is from Sick Dog Wolfman. This is a design studio, and they created this sunscreen called Slather. And the point of Slather is basically that the sun is dangerous and we should be treating it as such. I mean, this video has some beautiful lighting and I love the heat wave effect. But they're Australian and they wanted to target an Australian audience, more so men. And one thing they have is this super cool logo of like the evil sun, which I think is beautiful. I love it. I love the simplicity of the bottle and just the way that it's designed. The typography is really cool, and you can see this art direction just feels beautiful and sunny. They did like a video of like this evil sun mascot, which is pretty funny. And this is just a couple of examples of like using their yellow, using their product packaging, and they did a couple other of these kind of funny cartoons about like the sun is a deadly laser, basically, like the sun is evil. This really stood out to me as well because I saw this and I thought, I have never seen tattooed skin on a sunscreen advert. And it turns out like you don't really see any real skin in these photos and these images people take, so that really stood out to me. Again, they have this like funny, like it's like Rick and Morty, like evil sun, and I just really like the art direction of the photos, and the logo is just so cute and like evil. But yeah, I just thought this was really, really cool, and I thought they did a great job, so I wanted to show you guys that. Now we're on to my mood board. I just want to say I was gonna do a mood board for Copper Tone and Banana Boat, but it was just boring, like, because I was so bored. And that's the thing about like industry leaders, it's like you're bored because that is the convention and you know that that is what sunscreen is, because Banana Boat is sunscreen, so you don't even recognize it, but I was just so bored. However, I did come across something very interesting in my light touch research, which was this purple and pink scented disappearing sunscreen with these 3D CGI sunscreen bottles. And I was just inspired. Guys, we used to make things. We used to make things. We used to have ideas. We used to have concepts. We used to push boundaries. Push boundaries. Brilliant. So my sunscreen is gonna be purple. It's purple and it disappears, which I like never mentioned in any of the outcomes, but it's purple. Okay, just so you guys know. I just thought this was brilliant. But let's get into my mood board. So when I make a mood board, it's not really for other people when I'm doing this kind of stuff. It's for myself because I take little bits and pieces here and there of all these different things and I stitch them together and then I begin to create my brand. So the key thing that I was really inspired by was ultraviolet rays. If you look at the UV index, they have these cool color gradients, and I wanted to take those pinks and those purples, and like I think UV cameras are really cool, like the fact that like we are protecting ourselves from the sun and from these ultraviolet rays, because that's the whole point of sunscreen, is that it's protecting your skin, and your skin is your largest organ. So that's why I wanted to call it organ protection, and I just thought, let me just do something a little weird, like it's gonna be organ protection, and the focus is on skin and real skin, so I wanted to use images of all different kinds of skin, because all we see in these other sunscreen brands, like I showed you, was perfect people with perfect faces. It's crazy when you think about it, like it's really crazy because we have freckles, we have acne, we have scars, stretch marks, all sorts of things. Tattoos, and you never see that. And when I saw the tattoos in Slather, I thought, why is that so unique? Like, why have I not seen someone with tattoos in these sunscreen adverts? So that's a core kind of tenet of this brand, is protecting your skin and the focus on how important your skin is from these ultraviolet rays. And when I think of ultraviolet rays, I just think of this kind of heat of the sun and the way that the sun beams down on us, and when it burns your skin or when it tans the skin, it's not a perfect thing. It's this kind of diffused effect, which is why I included these images here in the bottom left, this kind of colorful but like blown out diffused colors and things, and the kind of blurring of that, which I thought would be really cool. And one thing that I thought would be fun that I wanted to do was have the plastic of the bottle change color under the UV light. Because when I was a kid, I had this bracelet from like an outdoor event I went to, and it changed color when I went outside. So I found like an image from the internet, and I wanted my bottle to do that. So when you go outside, the plastic goes from white to purple to show you that you're being exposed to the UV rays, and you can see just how many UV rays are around you, just like how easily the color will change. So I just thought that'd be cool to like everything that you do, you tie back to the UV index, the UV rays. This is the point, is that organ protection and protecting your skin. I just have a few art direction things. I liked this image of the sandwiches because of the lighting. Again, that like really bright, beautiful, kind of warm lighting. And with this milk makeup image, I just like the drama of the bottles floating and just the way that they were, you know, portrayed in that. So those were a couple art direction things I thought were cool. And everything about the brand ties back to the strength of the sun and protecting ourselves. We went into this project with a couple of typefaces in mind because I wanted something with a little bit of bleed. Like I said, I was inspired by the rays of the sun and the way that they're not very sharp. And I ended up finding this typeface Exposure, which actually inspired the name of the brand, which is Exposure. So sorry for ripping that off, but this typeface is inspired by film photography and the light projection coming through in film photography, so I thought that was cool. And I like the way that it has a little bit of a bleed to it. You can obviously make it like way more bleed because it's a variable, and it just reminds me of sunburns, and like I said, like the way that the sun hits, it's never very sharp and it's never very distinct. And also a little bit like sunscreen as a liquid and this kind of bleeding of a liquid, you know what I mean? And the colors I chose were this bright pink and this bright purple from the end of the UV spectrum, as well as a bit of a lighter purple to incorporate just another color as well. And I liked black as well because it reminds me of the UV cameras and just UV in general. I just think of black. So for the secondary typeface, I went on and on and on and on trying to decide on a secondary typeface. I cut so much footage from this, guys, because I just could not decide. It was a tricky one to find a pairing for this typeface. But in the end, I chose like a pretty basic sans serif to go on the bottle, and then I chose a lighter variation of Exposure to be the typeface for different mockups and things. I spent a lot of time playing around with this blurring effect and these outlines, just to bring in another layer of blur to it. I wanted to see how these would look on skin, so I have this image here, and I thought it was pretty cool in the end. I tried doing different versions of this negative space effect later, but it didn't really work on images, but I do really like the way that this pink and purple looks on different skin tones. It just has kind of a cool effect to it. Getting into these colors was interesting because I love the blurring into nothing, the blending into nothing because they're gradients. So if you use one of the colors, it ends up disappearing. And I ended up animating this later on, which was really fun. But yeah, like you can see the purple and the pink, they both disappear, but they show different parts of it. And if you layer like gradient on gradient, it's really cool. And I was just playing around with like, what if I animated to a light purple or a dark purple there? I do my animation in After Effects, but I don't show you guys that just because I think it's really boring. So if you want me to talk about After Effects or show that, just let me know. I found this model from CG Trader of these cosmetic bottles, and that is the image that's shown there, because I was gonna import that and use it in Blender later. So what I decided to do was just create the mock-ups for the packaging on these squares, because this is the worst it will ever look. The moment that you take that design and you put it on a 3D model, it's gonna look way better. It's like, oh, mock-ups make everything, like, guys, we've all seen the Instagram posts where it's like, you have the most basic branding ever. It's literally like, oh, the letter M. And then because they like spend a bunch of money on art directed mock-ups, now it's like, oh my god, like, whoa, like they have a whole brand, like this is so nice. Like, not to be a hater, I'm like 15 minutes into the video at this point, you know, hopefully all the haters have clicked off, but I mean, come on guys, come on. So we need to be fucking for real, okay? Like, this is the worst it's gonna look. You need to make it look good. At this stage, it's just like a little square design. Because if there's one thing I'll do, it's slap something on a mock-up and now it looks a lot better than it actually is. But I was struggling, guys. Oh my god. When it comes to this packaging design process, you'll see I went back and forth and back and forth and back and forth trying to decide what to do with the packaging, because everything I did here was like so basic. It felt so boring. I was like, what am I doing? Sorry if my chair is making a lot of noise. The one thing about packaging though is you can really save it by throwing in a bunch more text. And that's the great thing about Sunscreen, is that there's a ton of text on sunscreen bottles because there's a lot of information to convey. What SPF is it? Is it broad spectrum? Is it safe for different skin types? Zinc or mineral or whatever. Like, there's all this information. So I was just looking at some sunscreen bottles at home and tacking on all the information I could in the end. So you'll see there's a lot more by the end of this. But I was like, do I want it to be this smaller bottle, this taller bottle? Is it black? Is it pink? Is it white? My first idea was to use a white one because I thought it looked better. Let me just show you guys this image. I took this image at Walmart. Yeah, I shop at Walmart. Anyways, I took this image at Walmart so you can see what we're dealing with the sunscreen department. White, yellow, blue. I think there's one black bottle on there. One. This differentiation is important. I was trying to incorporate more of this pink and purple, so I thought maybe I'll do this little like ring to show the SPF, because a lot of sunscreen bottles do that. They have like a little label. So I tried building that out, again, like using these colors, adding a bit of blur to it. And in Figma, if you blur stuff out, like obviously it loses opacity. So just copy and paste, add a couple of those on, and then that'll make it darker for you. Alright, so eventually, I did that white mock-up in Blender, and I decided I didn't like it, so I went ahead and I did a black version of the bottle. I just imported the model from CG Trader and I changed the colors. I didn't do anything too crazy. And I decided to do my design mock-up on the bottle to see how it would look in black, because that's what I wanted to do and change it to. And everything feels a lot more real now. It looks a lot more easy to envision and looks a lot better. So I like this a lot more. I thought, let me do the black, and I did some more playing around with the label design, doing things a little bit differently. So this ultimately was what I was happy with in the end. Now, coming into Blender, I hate UV unwrapping, guys. I will die before I UV unwrap something. So I have an add-on that will import an image as a decal, which will stick to an object. So I used that, and I just imported these as images and just stuck them onto the bottle because I knew what scale they were going to be. And then I just scaled those up to be appropriate. And as you can see, it's there on the bottle, and I just brought down the roughness, brought up the metallic a little bit so that it has a little bit of a sheen. And it looks pretty cool when it's actually on there. Now that I have a bottle mock-up, I wanted to try doing some other things. So I have my website homepage here. There's just a little bit of footage of this, but basically for the website homepage, I wanted it to be an animation of like different skin like flashing through while the bottle is spinning. And then I just have the shop and I guess like the cart label and stuff on top, and the logo and the tagline. And I was just trying to think like what I want to do with the buttons, how do I want them to look, like what colors do I want to use, kind of trying to decide all these things here. And I did a couple like Instagram post mock-ups, but I didn't show you guys that because I just copied an old like Instagram template that I had from another project and imported the images in, so it was like nothing groundbreaking, honestly. The next little mock-up I did was a tote bag. I actually ended up using a different mock-up for this, but it's basically the same design. I was just going back to that concept of the gradients and these colors kind of disappearing into each other, which I thought was really fun. So I did two versions here to see two different colorways just on my little tote bag square that I made. And I just like that kind of, you can't really see, but you can see, and it's like the blur fades into the gradient, and then it's like the background as well, like just a little bit of both, you know? And then for this billboard, I really liked these up-close pictures of skin. I thought this stretch mark skin was really cool. And I just found this free billboard on Unblast, which has tons of great free mockups. So I thought, let me just take this kind of tagline that I kind of came through, you know, like sometimes taglines just kind of come through as you're working. So, yeah, your largest organ needs you, it needs your help, you need to protect it. That's basically the idea. And just bringing back this kind of gradient behind the text and really showing the skin. I was like, do I want to add like a little bottle? Nah, like it feels a little bit on the nose. So I was like, I'll just cut that out. The last thing that I have here is making my final animation. That was just a fun little animation I thought that I would do to show off the cap that I was talking about before. So in Blender, guys, you can animate anything, and you can animate colors of objects. So all you do is you click on the diamond beside the color option to make a keyframe. And as you can see, I'm going from white to this purple, and then it changes the color gradually over time, which is really, really cool. So I was thinking like what kind of perspective, what kind of vibe. I liked this really dramatic perspective that was inspired by the Milk makeup render, and I thought I would do something like that, and then in the end I could put some type over it as well. And what I wanted to happen in this animation was that the lights would come up. It would go from black to the lights coming up, and then you see the cap slowly changing color because it is UV activated. And I just have a 3-point light set up here, and I animated the lights as well. So I animated the wattages going from 0 to their max wattages that it was. And I just put a plane in the background with the purple color as well. And you can see that gets lit up, and it turned out really nice. I'm really happy with this animation. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this. This was really fun, and I had a lot of trouble with this actually because I thought that it wasn't working for me. I was running into a wall. I honestly was like, do I just make something I'm not super happy with, or do I push through? And I'm really glad that I pushed through and I actually made something that I like, because the moment that you are feeling like you're at, you know, this breaking point in a project where it's not what you want it to be and you don't know if it's going where you want it to be, that's the moment before a breakthrough and you make something that you really like. So I did go through this kind of creative process with this of feeling like it wasn't working, and it ended up working in the end, so I was really happy with it. But yeah, that's just part of the process. You learn to expect that. Yeah, next I will show you the outcomes. I hope you guys enjoyed watching. Like and subscribe, obviously, and I will see you in the next video.